This is RJ Wellington, and this is another video in the series The Great Awakening, and I will call this The Force Awakens, in tribute to one of my favorite series, Star Wars. And I haven't been publishing any public video for a while, probably 1 year or so, because I have been very busy in other areas, working in some personal private projects, working with my inner circle, a very selected group of former students who are part of that group. And there I've been constantly recording audios that are exclusive to those students. And another thing, I'm creating and uploading first and foremost to this platform called Rumble. So I strongly advise you, if you wanted to follow me, to keep subscribing to my videos, to go to Rumble. The link is in the description, because from now on the information I will be sharing or revealing may kick me out of this platform that you are listening to now. If you are on YT, you know what I mean. So please go to the link below to my Rumble channel and subscribe, because there we have the freedom to speak clearly without having to hold anything back. In my first video of this series called The Great Awakening and the Return of the Alliance, if you haven't heard to that, go back and watch that one. It's still very actual. It is still very timely, and it was done 1 year ago, over 1 year ago. I think it was July 2020 in your Earth's calendar. And in that video we spoke about several topics that I'm planning to break down in this new series. This probably will be a trilogy, or will be 4 videos explaining some of those topics that I received a lot of questions about. And in this one specifically, I'll be talking about the concept of Yugas, or ages, according to Indian mysticism or Indian cosmology. Okay, so I want you to pay close attention, and I always advise everybody to listen to whatever we release more than one time, so you can grasp, you can have a better understanding of whatever we share. Okay, so back to the main topic. What are the Yugas? The Yugas are basically the representation of different cycles that we go through. They are periods of time, but remember that my line of metaphysics, which is multidimensional, doesn't care about being politically or even spiritually correct. So I have to tell you, even this concept of the Yugas is still a construct in the Matrix. And we don't necessarily have to be locked into constructs. They are valid in your reality, if you will. Okay, but the problem with this is if you take it at face value. There are several layers of understanding for any type of teaching, and the same happens here. The problem with us is that we are usually programmed by the so-called mainstream everything, to view time or to perceive time as linear. Like, for example, going from point A to point B, okay, with the so-called future being more evolved or more advanced than the so-called past. In metaphysics, beyond the realm of three-dimensionality, we see time in a cyclical fashion, in terms of, for example, events reoccurring or repeating themselves in one way or another, pretty much like the seasons of the year or day and night. So we don't see time as linear, and that's what we understand by multidimensionality. And the most important aspect of perceiving time as, or experiencing, because that's the real the real reality beyond the constructs of the matrix, but very important to see time as non-linear, which means past, present, and future can be considered like different energy bands or frequencies or densities, if you will. And that is what some people also call parallel realities. Jesus said, "In my Father's house there are many mansions." Was he referring to this? Some people believe so. So, in the grand scheme, this non-linearity is being speculated even by some quantum physicists that work in the theory of the many worlds interpretation. Okay, from our perspective, from the metaphysical view, and one day you will realize it, be it 10 days from now or 10 million years from now, it doesn't matter. Again, there is no time, because from our perspective, all time into infinity does exist simultaneously. So, a million years in the past or a million years in the future, according to our explorations in consciousness, through expansion of the consciousness, are existing simultaneously. And that is one secret to time travel, by the way, but that is a whole different topic. Okay, so one of the major traps of the matrix, after our DNA has been scrambled, downgraded, messed with, is to keep us disconnected to a point, from that point that we can intuitively perceive this time-space continuum, if you will. So we are basically trained or programmed to live in a linear fashion, which is just extremely limiting, to say the least, because when you go out of that linearity, and pay attention to this. I usually review information that you don't see in any book, in any video, any audio. You have to go out of linearity to affect healing, to affect miracles, to accomplish whatever it is that you want to accomplish for you and for others. Okay? Pay attention to this. To live in a state of miracle, some people would call it advanced spiritual state. I don't like the word spiritual because it's too connected to the trap in the matrix called religious systems. But anyway, you can call that spiritual. You must move out of the time-space continuum. You must move at least into a fourth dimensional way of thinking, of feeling, of acting, and viewing your reality. Clear? So, with that out of the way, let's talk a little bit about the Yugas from our metaphysical context. The Yugas, as you see in the graphic, are divided into 4 different phases or ages, as follow. Again, look at the graphic in your screen if you're watching this. The Yuga are classified by whether they are ascending or descending. Most scholars agree that the entire cycle takes around 24 to 26,000 years, give or take, but that doesn't matter. Again, time and space are very illusory. So, in this mythology, or cosmology, if you will, the Yugas are Kali Yuga, also known or called the age of materialism or ignorance. Those were represented lately by our dark ages. It is when the vast majority of people are fully focused on the three-dimensional material reality. They are usually living in a type of ignorance, or a type of forced ignorance, if you wish. Okay? And these people are usually only able to comprehend the material things. Okay? They don't have willpower, and they believe in powers outside of themselves controlling them. In this stage, religions are very dogmatic, very even like we saw in the Crusades, people murdering, killing in the name of a religion, which doesn't make any sense to us at another level, right? Okay, so but even during this time, and now is the point is I want to make, there are people living in the state of consciousness of the Bronze, the Silver, and the Golden Age. Approximately 2,000 years ago, this character called Jesus was living in the Iron Age, but he had his consciousness completely in the Golden Age. What does that mean to you? And that is my main point. You are not trapped in this cycle, which is like the cycle, the karmic cycle. You can step away from the cycle of karma anytime, any moment. There is no set destiny. So again, even the concept of Yugas is a construct in the matrix. So we have gone through the Iron Age. But there is a transition, and the transition into this new age, which is called Dwapara, Yuga, also known as the age of energy, or the age of enlightenment, or awakening. I would say awakening. There is a transition in between ages, and that's why we're seeing so much turbulence. We are seeing all this mess happening, because for things to change, there must be some chaos, and that is mostly brought about by not good intentioned people trying to manipulate the majority to keep them trapped into a lower system, a lower frequency, because they can only profit from you if you think you depend on them. And that will be falling. There is even a series of videos called The Fall of the Cabal, and that's what is really literally happening. So you must first understand that we are in a transitory, a period of transition from one age to the other. The Bronze Age, Dwapara, started approximately, we felt the vibrations from that in 1987. And culminated, the portal was basically totally open in 2012. And that's the significance of the Mayan calendar. So again, now we are in the very first stages of the so-called Bronze Age, Dwapara Yuga. And some people, when I say that, some people say, oh no, I thought we would be entering the Golden Age, and we will be in this, amazing new age that people have sung since the 70s or earlier. There are many people expecting, and many masters predicting. No, the Golden Age, according to the Yugas calendar, is thousands of years in the future. But pay attention, again, that's my main point here for those who have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. We, at our highest level, at the level of our highest self, or oversoul, we are living all ages simultaneously. Because again, there is no difference. There is no, in a realm of no time and no space, you are free to navigate in consciousness. Your body can be here in the year 2021, but your consciousness can be in the year 3035 or the year 5021. And again, that's one secret of time travel, by the way. So this energy that we are entering now, this new age, okay, it is a new age because we left the Iron Age or Kali, is more represented by energy. They call the age of energy for a reason. And you see for a long time now, the waves of this energy, of this age coming, there are more talks about energy healing and suppressed technologies coming to the surface, like energy therapies, what they call med beds, or Tesla technology. And when I talk about Tesla, I'm not talking about this brand by this guy Elon Musk. We don't, okay, has nothing to do. It has to do with Nikola Tesla, which was one of the greatest minds to ever live in this planet. I mean, scientific minds. He literally got information from the future. Another point to prove that he was living in the energy age. He got information from there. Okay, even though he was still living in the last remaining probably years of the Iron Age. Okay, and you'll see a lot of this, a lot of suppressed technology will be revealed, and we'll be in an age, and we start that with the cell phones, the internet, all those things that, pay attention, they can be used for good or evil. But even technology, energy technology, can technologies of consciousness. For example, in the Iron Age, Jesus did the energy healing, and many other masters did the energy healing. They didn't have to wait for the energy age. So what we see, what we project from looking into timelines, and by the way, people involved in the Looking Glass, I think it's Looking Glass project that travels into future timelines, saw that every timeline ends up in this great awakening, which means it's very hard to say a few years from now, because for you it can be now. Again, you define how you want to expand your consciousness into higher and higher levels of processing the matrix and stepping out of the matrix. Okay, but the bottom line, this age is characteristic by the use of energy. We will have free energy, like there are devices the size of a basketball that could power a whole building, and they don't have it to be recharged. It uses life force energy, if you will, life energy, ether, and they are constantly, a source of energy that can last for millions and millions of years. They have some of these things hidden in some locations that we cannot even reveal, because there are people trying for a long time to invade and to destroy those locations to steal this technology. Okay, but it is widely known. Okay, and this age also we transcend the idea of time and space, and we can have intergalactic travel, not with an outdated vehicle that needs fossil fuel. There is already a lot of extraterrestrial technology being used by some individuals and some groups, some of them good, some of them not so good on this planet. Okay, so this is the so-called age of energy that we are entering. That's why you see so many changes. If you go back 100 years ago, they didn't have any of these things that we have. Most people in the planet didn't know about energy healing, much less about cell phone technologies, microwave, use, and all those things. You get it, right? And then the next age, a few thousand years in the future, in a linear time, again, not for someone who expands consciousness, is the so-called Silver Age, Treta Yuga. And that skull is known as the Age of Mind, or the Age of Thought, of conscious creation. That is the point where mankind is able, literally, you are able to think of something work on the subatomic level and materialize whatever you want in front of you. Be it a gold coin or a whole building. And that is the age during the descending period of the last silver age, three-dimensionally. That's how the pyramids were constructed. They were not constructed by slaves bringing huge stones from another area. They were not constructed by levitation devices. The masters of reality who created the pyramids with a very important function on this planet, they just taught that into existence. Believe it or not, I don't care if you believe. Those who know. Because knowing is very different from believing. So if that resonates, if that strikes a chord, you're fine. If not, just move it to another video. Go watch, The View. Go watch CNN. Because we're talking here, the information I give you is clear, to the point, and I know it is true. Because I know. Again, I don't just believe. So yes, the pyramids and many of these big constructions that they say, how come primitive people were able to build those things if now we can't? Well, they were in an age, believe it or not, that even though we perceive as a past, it was much more advanced in terms of human evolution before they scramble mankind's DNA. And I'll touch on that topic. I have a very good audio for my private students that I'm thinking seriously about making public, so you can understand the past, what happened since the past. Okay, so the age of conscious creation, all we can say is this: you'll be able to use your mind to create anything you want. And again, there are people doing that right now in this planet, right? There might be a little delay between visualization and accomplishment. Like every technology, again, is a technology of consciousness. For you to have your cell phone, to be listening to me, to be watching me now through your cell phone or your computer, someone had to think about a computer first. Someone had to think about how to manage these bandwidths or these frequencies, so my voice could get to you wirelessly, even being. So the bottom line, every technology is a technology of consciousness. That's why many people ask me about med beds and these healing devices or radionics, and I tell them, they just, like I would say, physical devices to give you what you want. Some people would call it permission slips, but you can create the same results that a med bed create if you had that level of consciousness. So can you say that ultimately everything is a placebo? It might be. That is closer than the truth than you can imagine, okay? So again, everything, look around you, everything starts as a thought. It had to go through a process, but in the age of mind, in the age of conscious creation, you think about a device and you won't even have to think, by the way. And that leads us to the so-called golden age. Stay with me. And the golden age is called by many the age of spirit, the age of enlightenment, of your multidimensional self, being aware of all the ages to begin with. Clear? So you have, again, a part of you living in all these ages. In the golden age, you won't even need to use your mind to heal your body, because there is no space for any type of, I would say, body or physical imbalance. In the golden age, you won't need a technology created in the age of energy or even the age of mind to travel to another planet, because you just think and you'll be there. That is the principle of non-locality. And again, there are masters, very advanced yogis, who are living the four ages. They can materialize, they can teleport, they can create material objects out of ether or out of life force energy or out of nothing, as some of you call. Okay? They are living all that, and that again is the message I wanted to pass to you. We are all at some level experiencing all the ages, because they do exist simultaneously. It just depends basically on your point of reference, where you polarize yourself. So to us, expansion of consciousness is basically growing your consciousness into more and more and more of reality, of all these bands, these frequencies, these densities that you can also call dimension. So you can say that you are living the golden age, no matter what is going on around you. And usually that reflects in your reality as well. Okay, but let's keep it simple at this point. So again, think about the cycles. As above, so below. So there are cycles like day and night. But let's say I'm in New York. It is day now. And if I could instantly travel to Japan, it would be night there. So they both, you can say that these cycles are existing simultaneously. And depends on where you are located, you perceive them. Let's talk about the seasons of the year, which are winter, spring, summer, and fall. They also happening simultaneously in the northern hemisphere now, December of 2021. It is winter. But if I travel down a few hours to my hometown, Rio, in Brazil, it will be summer. So even though I'm in the winter, let's say the Kali Yuga, I can travel, transport myself to another location, and I can be in the golden age, which is summer, if I prefer. If I prefer the winter, I can travel from Rio to New York, for example. So you get the association there, right? The metaphor, okay? We are not restricted even by the yugas. You can be living physically in one yuga with your consciousness expanded to all of them. Clear? And now we talk about cycles. We talk as above, so below. Now I will show you that your body, yes, the body that you are occupying, because to us there is no difference between a physical and a spiritual, an energy body. We are all energy, always, forever. So let's talk about this, and this is something that for most, probably 99.9% of you, it will be a first time revelation. I will show you how these yugas are encoded in your own body. Believe it or not. Ready? Now look and pay attention to this new graphic. Besides the circle of the yugas, the cycle of the yugas. And what you see there? You see a body, the perfect representation, the body of a physical entity and non-physical as well. And you see the 7 energy centers that they call chakras, right? And look at this with attention. The first 2 chakras are aligned with the age of materialism, Kali Yuga. They are more operational throughout those ages. Survival, fight, the need to protect yourself and to reproduce, okay? Those are the characteristics of those 2 lower chakras. The second group of chakras, the solar plexus and your heart chakra, are aligned with the age of energy, or awakening. And by the way, the first two chakras are associated with the earth element, the second two with water. Even in the tarot cards, the cups, the water is always a representation of energy in movement, which is also emotions and feelings. So the second set of chakras is associated with this age of energy that we are going through now. That's why most people are becoming intuitive. Emotions are coming to the surface. And the other side, or the dark side, can manipulate billions of people in the state of fear because they know these chakras are highly active at this point. Now, the third group of chakras, your throat and your third eye chakra, are associated with the age of mind or conscious creation. That's why we have this idea of creating with the mind, the power of the mind, right? And that is associated with the fire element in alchemy. And finally, the top, the crown chakra, is associated with the age of spirit and enlightenment, air. So now what all that means? That's not just theoretical, folks. This can have very practical applications, and that's what I share with my private students. The secrets that include even alchemy. They learn alchemy without even knowing, by the way, because now I'm sharing these concepts. Okay, so what it means? The human is a microcosmos containing everything. Okay, and when I say human, I'm talking about your physical body included. Don't underestimate, and the fallacy of the Iron Age is that they say your body is not worth anything. You have to die to become spiritual, to experience your spiritual bodies. And that's why they justify so many killings, so many murders in the name of religion, which to me is insanity. Okay, so your body is spiritual. You are not a spiritual being living trapped in a physical body. Your physical body is part of the great reality of who you are. Clear? So again, the human is a microcosmos containing everything, as above so below. Your body is a self-healing and regenerating machine, a rejuvenation, the fountain of youth is in your body. It is a radionics machine that can heal anything imaginable and non-imaginable. It is an intergalactic communication device. You can contact any part of this galaxy or this universe telepathically, if you know how. Your body is a time-traveling machine, a multidimensional machine. And that's why the energy centers, or what you call chakras, they are basically like, let's say, frequency controllers. That's why there is this thing about raising your kundalini and awakening all your chakras. I usually do this with the color and some very specific techniques to make it much quicker. I don't like processes that take 3, 5, 10 years for you to develop. That's all a myth, that's all a construct, a trap as well. If someone comes to you and say, I'm going to teach you how to raise your kundalini, how to regenerate your DNA, is a process that might take 10, 20 years. Okay, I will run away from that person. Because it all depends on you. It can take 20 days, 20 months, even 20 minutes if you are at that level of the golden age of air, okay? So we spoke about alchemy, and I will throw in, before we finish, a very closely guarded alchemical secret. I'll give you a phrase we usually spoke in symbols. We speak in symbols. And this is for those who have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. And let me know if you want to write me personally and tell me what you make out of this. Okay? So the alchemical secret, looking at that body composition with the energy centers active, participating in all ages simultaneously. Because you are Your first two chakras are connected to the age of materialism. The second set of chakras, the age of energy. The third set, the age of mind and consciousness. And the top chakra with the age of enlightenment. So you have it all. That is the message of the masters, or the hidden message of some masters. But let me give you a phrase. Looking at that, you use the fire to burn the wood, which is an earth element, in order to boil the water and turn this water into vapor or air. If you want to listen to that phrase again, go back into this video, okay? So I'll leave that phrase with you. That's one of the major, and I'm giving you, I would say, the procedure, but I'm not giving you the techniques, all right? And I will never give it to you publicly, because that is we have to learn, okay? I am who I am because I was very curious. I was willing to give all that I had, if I had to learn these secrets, to learn this path to expansion of consciousness. But we give hints, and those who are ready to follow, they can follow. We don't force anyone to believe in anything, and we don't care, really. All right? So, in conclusion, what I want you to take from this video, this presentation, is that you are living all ages simultaneously. You just have to be aware of that. Your focus of consciousness is the choosing factor. So now, this whole situation the world is going through, you know who will be the survivors that we are calling the pure bloods. The ones, they don't have to have the knowledge that we have on this side of the veil. They don't need it to, but they must be open. They must question the system of control. They must question the matrix. And they should pay a little more attention in what the masters have been telling them for millennia. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this presentation. There is more to come. I'm planning to do at least a trilogy of this new phase, The Force Awakens, for those who are prepared for this. Okay? I appreciate your time, and may the Force be with you, always.